All right, everyone, thank you and welcome to our pre-meeting for the August council meeting. Heads up, Councilman Melvin will be absent today. So starting off, all business, discuss moving forward the city state next phase. Any questions? Thoughts?
So as that email get today, are we looking to include both activities 8 and 9 or just 8 at this point? Or do we have to, I guess we have to approve them.
Yeah, I mean, what part of the
Once
8, 9,
The phase, I mean, we're approving this phase.
Okay.
All
All right, I just want to be clear. We're approving
Yeah,
that.
I believe so.
2 steps.
And we've already done 10A, which was the community survey.
So 10 A we already.
Yeah, this is basically, I think that email from the bottom is where it's for.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were providing that, so that's new, so we know where we are with the phase.
I recommend we move ahead with activities 8 and plans and.
Okay, any questions, thoughts?
Sure.
All right, do you want to see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, next item on old business, discuss the forward to Old Orchard Park sidewalk extension crosswalk. So, this is the one where the estimate came in for like 100 grand. Like 100 grand, right? No, we're under 100. The thought was to front the money to do the engineering work this year or the analysis, and then hopefully get a grant for next year. Where does everyone stand on taking that approach? Because that is money that is not allocated. Something would have to be cut to accommodate this. There's no guarantee you're gonna get a grant.
Might as well, if we've had several discussions on this, and, always been under my impression that council approved it, and we're moving forward. And it's a safety issue down there, and, it's something in my opinion, we definitely need to move forward with.
Okay.
But my concern
Yeah.
is that what can I get money? What can we get money just from this year's budget? So, and, I believe that it will cost like 20, 30 K and for engineer fee, right? So this is.
I believe so, yeah, we're just gonna, because we're going through the HOP application process this year.
But still no, and this, my concern is still like, we're trying to balance the budget. So, and I'm still like, I want to know where can we get the money? So shall we cut it? From other items, with the money, and also, as what I just mentioned, there's no guarantee that we'll get a point. So this 100K should be on us. 100K based on the situation of financial situation of no borrow, and there's a lot of money. And it looks like, and I just feel like some people talk about the to and raise the property tax again, and I'm totally against that one. So if you guys can tell me what the money that 100K, what we can get the money from, and I'm totally fine with this project.
I thought we had, going to split it up in 2 budgets. This budget this year and then budget next year. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, but but the application, I don't think that we have the budget for this line.
I don't think we can measure money against safety. I honestly don't. I see what goes on down there. We have so many families crossing that street. We have that short distance from the turn to where they're crossing.
Yeah, I'm totally for the safety of the community, and I think that not only like this and the crosswalk has, some issue and some other like the, intersection or extension or whatever, and the residents also come to me and ask, can you install something or, so my concern is always like that. Because I, just to let you know, and if you guys can just let me know and where the money come from. And so we don't need to borrow money and as I said, I'm totally for like the safety of our community, safety of our the residents. But I just, I have a deep concern whenever I think about this project, that's the 100K. It's not like 1K or 2K.
We've already had a couple of calls.
Yeah, but whenever I think about that one, I have more concern and deep
We
concern.
know-
And, I talk to a community, I talk to our residents, and they ask, and since you guys care about the budget, care about the, deficit, and where the money come from, I said, I have no idea.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, let's figure it out first, and then we can start this project. This is my concern.
So we're looking at, in this year's budget, around $30,000 for engineering this year?
Our proposal guidance,
Oh,
what,
15, 1.5.
Oh,
about 15,000, yes. As always, an estimate,
Oh,
we
yeah,
don't bill lump sum, it's hourly. We can call it 15, not see. Have a discussion. Now,
on the engineering side.
yeah, our best guess at engineering, so for survey, permitting, design, not to go to construction. but
They were-
get permit, and that was 15.
Just a couple of days ago, somebody was out, they were looking for my marker, right? For my marker guard for my property. I didn't quite understand that.
It was our survey crew, we proceeded to start, we'll sort that out otherwise. The decision is not to proceed, but yeah, the survey crew was out.
Right.
We were under the impression that council wanted us to move forward in a manner that. I think.
Yeah,
That would have been
even
our
I
survey.
thought we should have money, but the sense that even like and when we are trying to bring like some revenue and to borrow and we have some issue like right. Look at what we are doing with this home rule chart or something like that, So it doesn't go so well. So I don't have much confidence in like getting more money in the next year. So if we pay like 15K and for this year and if we cannot get grant, that will be 85K for next year. So what we can deal with is that. I just wonder if you guys have a really clear idea and of like where the money come from, and we want to add to our deficit. So I'm totally for this. And, I care about the residents. I care about the people's safety. I think no money can, will be like and so just whenever I think about that one, I'm more and more concerned about the budget.
So. let's Step back here, I mean, when we had this discussion before, go all in, not do it, and sort of the compromise was, let's have the borough engineer just direct them without the motion, we don't need to do a budget transfer.
Yeah,
So,
totally
but-
understand, but
Okay, yeah, no,
when I think more and
okay, so you're having second thoughts then.
Yeah.
About the direction that's given to the borough engineer. And you need a majority, even though we don't vote on this or so, but. We give direction at this table to staff, the professionals, tell me to research something, and others. So is there desire to debate this or discuss this?
Yeah,
Or
I think we
like to
should.
Change?
I think we should just want to hear everyone out, what your
Yep.
perspective is on this, because obviously
We're trying
whatever
to
work, obviously whatever work has been completed so far will be, that will charge back.
Well,
So,
and I think this doesn't lock us into.
Yeah.
That's
It doesn't lock us
the
in.
approach,
Right.
and to get the engineering done and then try to pursue the grant and then decide whether to proceed the project.
So my concern is that if we don't get a grant, shall we prosecute?
We might have to make a decision next year, budget time, if there is, it's 100,000 grant, no grant, you can do it there.
Yeah.
That way, the 15 or whatever the discussion before.
Yeah.
They come from that. So
Because then we have been talking about the budget for a while, and so I just want to ask you guys whether the 15K and where that money come from. And so what you guys want to do and to balance the budget. So since that we have like the people residents come to the meeting and told us like and our Republicans, people, council member, and they are really good at budget, and they know how to finance the budget, and they know how to like not adjust the budget, and I'm just curious, and I just want to know and where that 15K come from.
I thought the reason we did this is if we waited to start the design and we figured it in 2026, most likely it wouldn't be implemented until the end of the summer season in 2026. By the time, if we didn't do anything until January, no engineering, no design, no application to PennDOT, and all of that until January, we were looking at a,
No,
correct me if I'm wrong, 8 to 9 month process before the crosswalk would be installed and operational,
Hey.
which would be past the summer of 2026 timeframe.
as I said again and again, and I'm not against this, and I just want to know and what do you guys and what want to do and balance the budget and what that the 15K come from. So that's my question. Please just let's not talk about like something else, and I have a specific question. So if you guys can tell me like that, okay, I'll cut this, I cut that, and then we'll have the 15K. I'm totally for it.
So it's a specific cut to make up the 15K.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, especially looking at our projected deficit by the end of the year is $1,084,000. So, and I think my understanding of the discussion when we talked about the crosswalk was that everyone was in favor of it, but we needed to find the money. And that's part of the reason, in addition to the timeline, that's part of the reason we agreed to break it up over 2 fiscal years, because it wouldn't hurt as much
Right.
from one. But I do agree with Dr. Lee, at this point where we are in the budget this year, we should probably look at what we can offset to spend that $15,000. Because again, the projected deficit by the end of this year is over $1 million. So I think if I were making a decision unilaterally, my decision would be, let's just find $15,000 in the budget. Not that it's that easy, but to me, that needs to be our next step.
As mayor, I'm responsible for safety. This upsets me. Because we had talked about this. And it's my understanding, and I don't misunderstand this, especially this project. We had to split it up into 2 budgets. This year, next year, engineering, all that stuff, all the preliminary stuff that we have to do, this year. And I was told, and I don't remember, that in the beginning of 2026, this project would begin. Not at the end of 2026. I'm concerned about that area. I'm concerned about kids. I'm concerned about people walking through there with their walkers and babies. And this needs to be fixed. I'm sorry. Here we are debating safety, or we're going to spend some money.
I don't think that.
I'm sorry, Dr. Lee. I am positive on this.
But
I am responsible for safety. I'm the mayor in Franklin Park. I'm responsible for safety. I don't want somebody getting killed there. And if somebody gets killed there, a little baby or a little kid or a little boy or family, whatever happens there, then we'll find the money. We'll have to find the money.
Well, let's find it now. So we don't have to.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants a safety issue.
yeah, as I mentioned, that I'm for the safety. I care about safety. So that's why I always mention something like we needed to and install something, and we needed to and do something for the benefit of the community. And do not that just put a label on us and like we don't care for the safety. We live in this community. I don't know why that you get that idea. It's mentioned again and again. If we want to balance the budget, if we don't want to add a deficit to the budget, we need to find the money to cover the cost. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. It's said it again and again and again. If you want me to repeat the millions of times, I can do that.
Yeah.
But I'm all for the safety of the community. I live in that community. I have kids. So I don't want people to leave us that like not care about the safety. It's mentioned again and again and again. And we should, and I think the Kathy also like probably and note the stuff down, and so we have the record there to show that we care about the safety, but I just
Dr.
also
Lee,
care about the budget.
Dr.
Do not
Lee,
like I'm so pissed off.
Me too.
give a gavel. All right, so obviously we care about safety. We don't want anybody killed or hit or anything. But we are gonna have to find 15K in the budget. We want to proceed with this. So finance director, do we have 15K? We don't have to have the answer right now, but we come up with a list of items that are eligible to be cut. Be pursued.
I didn't bring my whole budget with me, but I think we could sit down and find it. We cannot buy the conference room chairs for the 7th grade year. I don't know if those really.
We still have 4 years in
That's
car.
only 4,000.
Yes,
Long.
find $15,000.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Next step.
So you can, it's flusher days and, we can move things around by consensus around the table of, okay, we need to do this. There is a mechanism in Borough Code that budget transfers, appropriations mid-budget year can be accomplished by resolution. That's gonna be, sort of austerity measures in terms of the changes. Structure that's a different way that we've been doing things. But it would avoid second guessing and changes. And would allow, yes, you need some background, documents. You'd have to take a formal vote, it would be a resolution, it's more admin to get it up and running. For council. So. We've never really done it before, we can start doing it.
Yeah, every year there are things we budget that either don't cost as much as we budgeted or we don't do them. So, yes, it'd be very easy to find $15,000 by finding an item either costs less than we thought it would. We simply didn't.
Speaking of that, there's a route, I think, that can in the budget. And you did that.
We're taking in $20,000 under budget.
Oh, there you go.
There
Thanks.
you have it.
So it would be a resolution just to make sure we are transparent, that we are using savings from that route that came in under transferring it to do this special safety.
Would
Yeah,
that then
slow
apply
things
to,
down, but,
would that then apply to any area where we've got enough budget in one area and we're running with the other, we're gonna have to ask for a condition?
that goes, and, yeah.
Because if we're gonna be consistent, that will be a number of resolutions every year that are up.
So,
Because we've always been given flexibility to say, if I can find savings here, then I'm using savings here. We've always been okay with it.
so council's okay with that? We can take that route, which is fine, so it will show up in the ledger, right? There's ledger transactions showing that the money moved from one account to the other for this project.
Yeah, we always discuss those. Okay. Go ahead.
Just want to make sure everyone's aware that, yes, we're gonna be funding this by savings elsewhere. However, if it comes down to 2026 and we don't get a grant, council, we're allowed to make decisions and roll the dice. Are we going to commit at full cost or not? Just want to make sure everyone's got them back in their mind or front of their mind. So, we're good?
Yeah.
Are we good? Any more thoughts?
How long is the engineering good for?
So the permit's been effectively,
Okay.
it's not a good look, big picture. We've identified a need here in the last years and years, obviously.
Especially if we've gotten 10% off on it, because they don't, it's not a.
Gotcha. That's not, okay.
There's not an explicit link. It's good for 3 months, or good for 6 months, or good for a year.
I'm not looking to be in that situation, but my thought is if we spend this money now for engineering and then decide not to do it, then we've wasted the money for engineering.
We want it to expire in a year.
Yeah, the design will still be valid, it can still go off the bid, the permit will be active. Not lost.
And Sean, just want to make sure the engineering, the design is not exclusive to a certain type of crosswalk. Meaning, if it turns out that is substantially cost effective because of the dire budget situation, maybe to go with a simple crosswalk.
I think PennDOT mandates what we have.
Does, and is there any flexibility around this?
To a certain extent, I mean, the application that we're gonna submit, when we, based on what we talked about, is going to propose flashing lighted rapid rectification. I would think from a, awareness perspective, that if we submitted just for a crossing, they're probably gonna ask for something like that anyhow.
It's too dangerous, just in
They already did in my discussions, you said they want these to be as clear as possible.
But if that permit goes in with the rapid red flashing beacon, you're not gonna be able to walk it back. That's the question. That's what was built.
Okay. Yeah, I would just ask, if you can, I don't know if you can check with what Pine did. So I've reached out to Pine because they have a project going on right now. On 910.
Army truck.
Exactly, so they said it's, what's that?
That's,
There's more work going on with it, so they said that it's part of the overall project, the Harvey Trail. They got some DCD money. It looks like they're constructing some additional stuff behind, but, I don't know, but they might have some like ideas like, so I wanted to ask, like, I asked for a cost breakdown. I haven't gotten that yet, just kind of curious.
I would think big picture, although we are the appointed township engineer, but they assigned that to their traffic consultant, so we didn't do it.
Okay,
I do know that that is a far more significant, it's a big number. The number was added to the other night was
Yeah.
an increase in scope, a change. So, I can share with you, I mean, we did these rapid red flashing beacons elsewhere. On this level of scope, but basically just that crossing, we did an Oakmont. I think this time last year. Sure. those numbers was-
Yeah.
Or as big numbers were. One of the things that we talked about a couple months ago, you know, if we can get through the PennDOT permitting process, and part of the reason we started surveying was from a timing perspective. If this can go out to bid in November or so before we kind of put the final bow on the budget, you know what the number is. When we bid, just like we've done with these routes, you have a certain amount of time, typically 90 days to actually award. You know what the number is, you can award a January meeting, that kind of. So, there's a way to get, you know, finite real numbers for this project as well. Presumably we can get from PennDOT process here and kind of restart moving, and we did put the brakes on a week or so since we talked to that. That can easily be resumed, if that's the consensus.
yeah, thanks for that. I'll do that.
I think one of these just opened, I think it's actually Marshall.
Marshall has it, it is on that road.
On 910.
Um,
Right.
It's
Actually pulls from the Marshall as the,
it's by the middle school, there is.
no, this is right on 910,
Yeah.
right? On the
Below.
It's got the lights and everything, it's right as it's going down the hill. Below Cole Road, as you're heading towards Westwood. There's a big new plan on the left, the bearings,
Yeah, are you talking about like
Right
Westwood
there.
Run?
right there on 910.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that same park, that Harvey Trail, that
Correct.
Arrowhead Park. Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing that's identical.
I think that's done, I mean, the lights are all.
I'm not familiar with that one specifically, it was not in Marshall, we're not in Marshall.
I think that's
It's
Marshall.
Westwood Crossing. That's actually Pine. Where that is. Oh, no, okay,
I'm pretty sure that's Marshall.
Marshall.
The park's Marshall right up the top of the hill.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. All right, yeah, any estimates we can get, would be helpful.
For the clarity of the minutes and the records, the direction before was to proceed, is there the will of council to stop the design?
Now we're proceeding, so we're signing.
Continuance.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Max, for my benefit, would you please summarize this thing for me?
So that was a discussion in terms of additional questions with respect to the funding for the design work that had already kicked off. Discussed there are processes that are more formal that we could implement, but in terms of, knowing that there is quote money in the budget and comfortable with proceeding, and because this is, we're not going out for a capital project right now, we're not going out to bid, there's no formal vote out there, this is a task that's given to the borough engineer to do, we can just do around the table, but I think maybe a further discussion will be, do we want to more formalize the process of making mid-year budget appropriations? We don't need to decide that right now. As of now, the direction for Sean is to continue, do the design, stick with that $15,000 budget or so, and then at budget season, figure out applying for grants or otherwise funding. Think,
And,
and you'll see the minutes too.
and potentially try to get bids by the end, but during the budget season. So we know the real cost.
Yeah, that'll be a crunch, but I mean, we certainly try our best there. We'll be department.
That way, Dennis, if we get bids, say in November, we receive the bids, even though we wouldn't award it until 2026, we would know the actual bid price at that point. As before we finalize the budget in December.
What's the 15,000?
That's just for the design and the bidding process.
Okay. That's what we're short on this project?
That's what we're approving.
That's why.
That's what we're approving right now.
No, we already decided we would reallocate existing monies from categories that were like, let's say we took bids on a roof that were $20,000 under what we carried in the budget. We can redirect that 15 of that 20 to pay for the design.
Okay.
Then what we'll do, we'll try to receive the bids before we finalize the 2026 budget. And then we can determine if we're going to include the construction, which would be the biggest part of the project, in the 2026 budget. We'll talk about that in November, December-ish timeframe.
With,
That's all right, Max?
Yes.
I think we're taking it.
so are we, would that put us, supposed to, we get all that work? Would that put us into a construction stage in the spring of 2026?
Yes.
That's what,
Potentially, it's not guaranteed, but
yeah, I know, but would we know? We pushed this thing down the road, I'm really concerned that we just pushed it down the road too far and all of a sudden something happens. So we just need to put priority on getting it done, hopefully in the very early part of 2025. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
so, on a new business, the agenda for tonight. Next, anything?
Out of the agenda, we did make a number of additions based on the work session, including the ambulance authority sending essentially the authorization for that agreement because we never formally entered it, but we'll have it set forth there, motion 12, as well as the 2-year commitment. Going down to 13, you've got the quarterly payment, previously committed funds. 14 and 15 with respect to the roof at the Blueberry Hill Activity Center. First the rejection, then the approval. I looked at the proposed memorandum of understanding with North Allegheny. It has some sensitive information there, so we did essentially make confidential exhibit in terms of numbers and other types of coordination. Did some other cleanup to the agreement. But makes sense from an emergency preparedness standpoint. He's put something in place, and if they know if there's an evacuation site, unification site at municipal limits. We wanted to talk, well, it's going up above, so jump in the middle. Civil service rules, Chief mentioned, and the Service commissions swapped the scoring for oral and written part of the test. So that is resolution. The schedule of fees updated as per the discussion as well with respect to application fees for zoning permits, zoning applications, conditional use hearings, things of that nature. We've got an alternate appointment to the zoning hearing board done by resolution. Sort of jumping down to the bottom, number 17, was not something that was discussed at the work session. I received a call at the end of last week by an attorney I know who's now a closing agent and just saying that there is an issue with a house that they're looking to close on Broomfield off the Sturbridge. He mentioned some issue with a fence and that maybe you would need a letter from me as part of all of this. So talking with Tim, we got the full story. This is a house that has a substantial fire pit patio built into the back of the property without a zoning permit slash building permit. That's somewhat a concern, but the bigger issue is it is over the stormwater easement that is Borough's takes the water to the stormwater detention facility and other improvements. The potential new owner wants to clarify this, to make better, start the application process, things of that nature. But, yeah, and also wants to put a fence around the backyard, which would also encroach on this easement that we have. So in talking with Tim and learning all those other details, that sounds like the easement encroachment agreement, which we have done for fences before. We've had them, over emergency access, our secondary accesses over on States Franklin Fields or somewhere. It's never used. And then other ones where the storm water line, yes, a fence posts are there with the direction that they can be removed at our request. And if we ever have to go in there, we'll take them down. It's essentially more license than permanent access there. So we told them we would discuss it in this session. We would put a motion on the agenda, knowing that it's easier to put it on or take it off than try and put it on. So it is there. I did tell him in response the fire pit was a little more significant, so I'm not sure Gary or Tim had thoughts about that, but we do have sort of a form easement agreement or easement encroachment agreement used for fences. We would use the same format and just add these details in this particular drawing.
I mean, it's much more possible. It's a patio.
It's a-
Is everyone aware of like the concept here?
Oh, it's bad. I think so. How about it's all?
So if something breaks, what happens?
Let me just
So here's more.
say one thing here. As far as slabs of grade, pretty much allow them to be within right of ways because driveways, right of ways, sidewalks are in right of ways. Patios typically on right of ways. For some reason, that's assumed to be easier to mitigate. That's never been a question. We've always allowed that. The issue here is the fire pit itself is a gas line. It's a little more, I don't see a big deal with it.
If it was just a patio, you'd be okay with it.
Yeah, the other thing, there was a retaining wall to make an elevated area for a example. Then
Is that on the drawing somewhere, Tim? I could.
yeah, that is, it's just
That
like a
was
stick
kind of
thing.
half.
Yes,
It's like a little half loop or something. You see
So-
the back one, it's kind of like.
Yeah, I wondered if that's what.
The issues that we have when they do those kind of things, they bring dirt in, so that makes our pipe deep. I think that pipe is, and that's where we have to excavate. Or they could lose a catch basin or a manhole. Gary went out and checked the manholes and catch basins to support on the property. They went out of the house, so that's good. This case, I don't see a huge issue with this. I just think that they need to be cognizant. We need to, coming in, all that stuff's going on to the back.
Does that mean if there's an issue, we're going in, we're not going back?
That I believe is the concept that we have.
And McCandless Township Sanitary Authority does this all the time, but although, there were some things that they wouldn't allow.
Also, but slabs straight on the front. Fences, they like to do springs. They can do sheds, they can do decks, that's how they show you, so. It's up to you. And they go through this process with their board and follow the agreement. And I told her, like, if she wants to close it on 29th, I said, but that may not work, you may want to extend it. You know, even if it's approved on 20th, you know, there's the document that has to be drafted. And there's stuff to do, and, you know, this is not a pro, so, you know. So that's kind of what we are.
They applied for the void permit, they have previous on.
They applied for the, that's my time, they applied for the permanent defense. Fence area, it's an easement. And I saw on the survey that there's all the stuff there that. So they realized that the town has to issue all that stuff in order for it to.
Is there anything they have to do to like fortify this, like they could change anything, like that?
Yeah, I mean, they need the permit, and they need our blessing, and there's no, I don't think that the alterations that have already been done or that are proposed are gonna affect us because of excessive fill or, you know, the impervious level. Yeah. So we just need to, we're gonna let that stuff there and allow the fence there, we just let them know that. We've given.
What, is there any discussion about removing gas lines as part of this?
Well, I told them, I said, this isn't approved, this is violation, stuff, yeah, so. They're well aware of the issue, and I don't know whether that'll avoid state of property or what. When you get into these things, you know, people buy properties without looking and serve that. I think that's pretty.
And I mean, I've exchanged emails, I've had a call from the attorney and left them a voicemail back and said, you know, we've done these. Yeah. When somebody's come in and asked for permission, this one you're asking for forgiveness or so. And I haven't breached the subject of, you know, costs or fees or anything else, but certainly reporting fees should not be on the borough. At the end of the day, I mean, I've only had like 15 minutes of looking at this, pulling that form out, sending it along, all him or so, but these ones it could be reimburse the borough its costs.
As part of the approval, I would recommend was a possibly. So,
Yeah.
How many do
Here's-
you have?
Here's what it looks like if you
You don't have a lot.
want to go through it. This is.
But it does happen. We do have, they're not off.
Yeah, not often, but.
Have we had a situation, you can remember, where we've had them in the need to remove whatever improvements are there?
Of course, you know, I'm sure there's a hundred of them. That might not be, sheds go up and.
It's even.
Yeah, that's the only time we find it.
No, I
Civic
think
area.
not 100 agreements, but 100.
Yeah.
Violations that we're not aware of.
The gas line. So this is like an aftermarket, afterwards gas line, and there's a water line underneath it. It's a sewer line.
It would
It's
be, that was,
storm.
Sewer line, okay,
Just
so,
storm water.
it's right for the street,
It's
going back to back. Wow.
so it's infrastructure, the gas line is going to the fire pit, which is a private.
Does that give you pause at all?
The gas line is being shut.
You would usually, you tell them ahead of time, tell them to be a construction, tell them they have to remove the signs, and they don't do it.
Okay. What do you all think? What feels?
On the last line, that fence.
Yeah.
What if they just put down the gas line in the fire pit? Or just come under to it? No, I mean,
It's up to you guys.
I guess my question is, they came in with this plan today, and there was, everything was there, but it wasn't, would get approved.
No, because it's an easement. Because
There's
it's
no
fire
easement.
pit, because it's fire pit, it's a use that is more than just a slab grade. So that we have to come back to this process, so. Basically, what Max said is, you know, they're asking permission, you're asking forgiveness for that, they're asking for permission for that. And fences typically in TSA gives that approval. Their infrastructure may be a little more critical because of the depth of those units. Our storm sewer falling on usually is the sanitary and source committee, so.
Essentially, it would have been approved if it didn't have the fire pitting, if it was just a slab on it. The grade, you would have been okay with that if they didn't go for a permit. And then I would recommend they just take the fire pit out and move the rest of the building. And what I'm trying to do is get it back to what would be approved if they came in and wanted to. You're telling me all that you're going to do with that.
Probably not.
So you can, so I guess like the borough and take the route here. The borough is not okay with what they've done here. I mean, what you can do one of two things, so I don't know if this is allowed maps, but maybe the borough can have some sort of escrow where even the sale to, as the sale is through, they can treat that escrow money if they meet these. They need these things. Then allow them.
I think the
I've seen it
agreement pretty
elsewhere.
much covers us because it's similar to the stormwater facility ordinance that, you know, allows us, that runs a bullying and what, you know, that allow them to do it too.
No, I'm just saying, I understand that, but if the borough wanted them to do these items, so they're not, so the, approach things. If it can't happen before the 29th.
Well, no, I told her probably won't happen for the 20th because I didn't want to set
Okay.
a schedule for it.
Yeah, I understand. But if they're trying to close the next like month or two, it might be hard on, it might be harsh, so I can get that. Would the borough be able to enforce that to happen?
Yeah, the property can transfer, you know,
Yeah.
with the violations, we
subject,
can't
yeah.
stop that, but, you know, and I told the buyer that this is closing the house with these violations on.
You own it.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
you got the violations.
Yeah,
But what's enforcement, like,
that we
Well,
could
it's
go
all-
after.
it will be enforceable, no matter who. So
okay,
What concerned you about the gas fund? Gotcha, but it wouldn't have proper the property.
Right, I think if they put in the slab and then they put on the wooden fireplace, they'd be fine with that, yeah.
You could even have fun with the gas fund.
Well, the wood burning fireplace, if it was portable, if it was a permanent structure, then it's,
Right.
that's something else, that's a different use. And it looks like there's probably a little bit of retaining wall, patio area too. Probably sitting there.
And everything, the other chain house seems to be just as big.
Yeah, and honestly, the buyer doesn't care about that way, it's just the seller doesn't want to take it out. And so that's between those two, I'm getting that right.
so that's you're saying, the property can have closing.
Yeah.
And these ones.
Well, that was my question to the closing entity, when we were trying to put together the motion, we had a blank on it at first and, you know, didn't know their timing. I didn't know it was 29th or so, and thought it should be in the name of the current owner. But, you know, if they were facing some type of closing, like they were gonna close tomorrow, we would do it in the name of the buyer in terms of motion. So we've got it set up now. It's in the name of the current owners. You know, can fill in the information in the blank form. It doesn't already say cover all costs, you can have that. I mean, I don't know in terms of getting involved in their sale, their agreement, who removes water, escrow. Something done before, would be a little more complicated.
You're saying that decides that.
I mean,
If you want, the council wants to take more time to figure
I
out.
think we just have to decide what we want. This is agenda, right?
yeah, I mean, right now, like, as I said, it came in Thursday afternoon or something, and we said, we can discuss it in the pre-meeting, we put a motion on, can't promise anything, this is what we have forms in place, but not exactly this scenario. But it sounded, yeah, in terms of the initial review, that at the end of the day, this is not, it's not building they're putting on top of this thing, it'll be impossible to get into, and there's a line that we looked at, at least visually, we know its condition, what it's like. While we have, you know, fence permits coming in, so they know that they're in the survey and they see there's a line there, so they don't walk right through and puncture the, pipe. So a little more careful there. But at the end, I mean, this is their problem, they're trying to address it right now for a sale of the property, and we just heat it up for discussion and potential action.
Yeah, I mean, if this property were transferred, the fence wasn't question.
Yeah.
I would have never. known
Noted.
that. So, I would have,
I understand their urgency, but it feels rushed to me. I feel like
Yeah.
I know enough to say one way or the other.
There's no detail on this.
the sanitary.
Yes.
It looks like they put in the retaining wall, dug down to skip the grade. My question is how much space between that?
Well, you have to look at the fence bases.
We have to go up and pull the top of the basin, or, there's a manhole up on the upper side, the yard is sloped, pretty.
I think this
down.
one,
And then it goes down into a open top, basin.
Are we okay tabling this?
I would
think
prefer.
You guys can do it.
Yeah, it might be good, so, so I wanted to ask, like, even though these violence transfer to you, like, it's basically like, for a single bunch of notices, fix this, take care of it, I mean, what is the financial repercussion, because this can go on indefinitely?
Yeah, I mean, it's our enforcement process.
Yeah, this is not a zoning hearing board thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, if you say no, gotta go.
Well, I don't know, if that easy, I mean, we gotta get taken to the magistrate and, you know, seek fines.
Well, it starts the
tell them,
process.
Starts the process.
But I just wanna put it out there, maybe, try to ask for, like, give these new problems, I don't know if that's allowed, but. Yeah, for future comments on it. Okay, so. Sounds like we want to table.
I have a quick question before we move on.
Yeah.
About the fees. So I know we talked about this ad nauseam last time. I have a couple more questions though. The ones that were listed in the document that we got from the last, I think, 6 months or so. On average, if this is correct, so where do you have that? The first column is what we paid and the second column is what we charged. Am I understanding that correctly? And the average of those, of what we paid was $574.78. And the average of the income is $275.91. So a significant difference, but of those, our average costs were only $574. So it still feels like a big leap for me to go from, for example, a residential zoning from 200 to 1,000, especially looking at our costs for the last 29 that we've done.
I think that didn't include some things, so like, if it's the same.
Well, I'm talking about the numbers down at the bottom for the specific applications. If I understood correctly, the numbers up top only had ads listed once, right? So that it should be double that. Instead of 120, 240.
No, those ads would be for public hearings.
So 120 is inclusive of two, or is it inclusive of one? Just one. Okay, so there were some differences I think in the chart that we got and the final numbers we looked at. Also, the employee costs, are those over and above what we're already paying? Like that's a special hourly rate, or that's already included in what we pay them as part of their normal job? Their salary, right? So is that accurate to include those as part of the application, is what I'm wondering.
Well, it's time that they're not spending stuff.
True. So, but I don't know. That to me seems like a bit of a stretch. Right.
I would see this as a project that's assigned to, and we're charging for the project. So they have a charge code, and the charge code is an application fee, and the application.
That's interesting, but I see it.
I understand.
I'm just, again, as we talked about last time, I'm concerned that this jump is going to be too big of a barrier for people to actually get these. If we're trying to exclude people from superfluously,
Right.
superfluously applying, is that really an issue? Is that really a problem that we need to solve? Are we getting a lot of applications, you think, that are,
I think we get applications that cost the world of money and, maybe people wouldn't take that.
okay, and
I mean, that's gonna be pretty obvious. If I wanted to put a shed somewhere where I couldn't, you know, pay $200 would be people that don't want to profit from $17,000. Yeah.
agreed. I don't know that we should be using this as a deterrent, though. But-
Well, I don't think it is a deterrent. I think it's just cutting costs.
Well, I don't know if it is, though. Based on, I don't know that I have a full understanding of what we're actually spending on these. Yes, we have this chart with the money, but again, I don't see, I see the wages as sort of like we said, double dipping. And then, again, the average of the last 29 that we did, $574, which is more than we are bringing in, so I definitely agree we should increase this, especially after you said it's what, been 30 years we've had an increase here. So it's definitely time for an increase. But I cannot in good conscience vote for an increase from $200 to $1,000. So that's mine. If we vote for this tonight, I'm not gonna vote for it.
I totally understand and respect your vision and strategy on this. However, the borough thinks it's money. I see borough staff as assigning tasks and projects, whether that is a zoning application or researching. We always need to filter those things. You know, there is a cost of doing business. I understand general admin costs, but there is that also being very specific that, you know, our zoning inspectors are doing. It is not part of their general duties. If this application were not coming in, they would be working something for the borough.
And I also believe that the next year we can just like look at this one again, just to, you know, decide whether we can amend the fee, like maybe like decrease or something. So what I'm thinking that let's first try this one, and then next year we can take a look at, you know, at this to see whether that's reasonable or whether it causes any issue. And if like we bring not revenue to cover the cost and we step some the pass or something like that, you can kind of like decrease from the 1,000.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's reasonable to do this now and then look at it later and see if, did that work? I think we should figure out now, are these the right numbers? And then do it. And I disagree that these are the right numbers.
Yeah, there's no right formula for this, and so because we haven't done that for a long time, so right now it's kind of like.
Okay, and I think we should increase them, absolutely, but not to this amount.
Just the two figures that are missing from this were advertising, we charged twice, and that's 120 twice, and then our fee for the zoning board, so it's 130.
So the zoning hearing board to pay the members was not on here also.
Correct. So 255. Yes.
Okay,
And that's the missing.
okay. Still doesn't justify it, and to me, looking at the numbers.
What is the gap if you?
180.
We. Hold on. If we took out the employee fees, which I know you don't want to, but I did my own little calculations here. Residential zoning goes from a total of, wait, that's not right. It was 12,1842 without the 250 and without the extra 160. But without the, hold on, that's too much math. for this.
You can tell me, I can do the math for you.
Well, add 250 to 957.60.
150, 250, 1,200.
Aren't you good at math? So,
And what do we set that fee at?
850,
no, that one's,
or is it 10?
that one's 1,000,
No.
but that's inclusive of,
Downtown,
yes,
which is.
well, let's not do that much. Without the staff cost. according to the sheet, and with the extra ad, it's $957.60 for residential zoning application.
So it's spread at $43.
Yeah, but again, I don't see those staff fees as. I see that as inclusive of their job description. I don't see that as over and above. Am I incorrect?
And you can look at it both ways. I would think
Okay,
personally, the way I've done it in the past was both the hours that we would do. So if we were gonna bill a resident for a change, everything except for the attorney fees, you would track hours and we would bill accordingly. I think this is just that kind of fun.
that just feels like double dipping to me. We're paying them anyway, and that's part of what, not we, but the borough is paying them anyway, and that's part of what they're paid for. So, yeah, I think the jump is too big I think it's too cumbersome for folks. So,
Okay. Any other thoughts? Ruben? Okay, let's start with it.
Oh, yeah, the project that it stands up, and on the design does not match the actuality of the utilities. Now we're trying to redesign or in order to try to get this project moving forward, and figure out what that cost would be, and the redesign, and any changes that would need to take place in order to complete that work. The water line is not located where Westview Water informed our engineer, and no one calls were put in during the design, the on-site to confirm. And so when it came time to do construction, the area in which we were to do work has multiple utilities. Now we are scrambling to come up with a secondary solution.
More to come?
More than that.
Yeah, all right. Okay, any questions? Next item, with one, public library, take a board position, here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so our board
Great
member
thoughts.
is not gonna renew, so we'll need to find somebody for the beginning of next year, their January meeting. But we'll need to start advertising, and keep on doing this.
There might be other committees that have that same issue, and we'll interview folks and do something like that, so.
We have a procedure. that
Yeah, we
we're
talked
doing,
about it, yeah, I was giving everyone an update.
And then we'll be in December. In your next packet, I will include the information that the library sent. What they're looking for.
Yeah.
You can have that.
Well.
Wow.
We haven't had that before.
And then the next item, we've already got a great deal. Overall update. Yeah, so we had a couple of the forums, last one was Laura and Tom, awesome job, very good questioning, Q&A session, so, but you guys can know it pretty well. There is another one next Wednesday, that the two of them have agreed to co-host. I know some petition signaturing is happening out in the wild, out in the borough. That's the only update I have. Person council mayor. That was a minute, anything? Nothing. I believe.
Nothing.
Laura?
the mayor and I are working on senior lunch coming up in October,
Yep.
right? We're working with that.
Yeah.
We'll get some details ironed out. We're trying to do it as cheaply as possible, so we're looking for sponsors. Without stepping on the toes of veterans breakfast sponsors, I know the mayor is talking to Donna, so we'll update you when we get.
All right. Executive session, we have. Do we have an item? Oh, we don't have an item. Okay.
No, Brad.
Yeah, very good. Okay, we'll see you out there.